Tonight, a 17-year-old arrested after running over another teen in Warana. The state government's $100 billion big bill plan. Petrol prices set to spike and four brothers boosting ag security.
Live from the Sunshine Coast, this is 7 News with Brough.
Good evening. Thanks very much for joining us. A teenager has been taken to hospital after he was hit by a car in Warana. Police are now investigating a link between the teen and the driver. Danny Sharp has the latest, including shocking new details.
We're here on Oceanic Drive where a 16-year-old boy was hit by a car late yesterday afternoon. Police shut down this entire area for 4 hours as they set up a crime scene. Today, we learned reports of an altercation between him and another teenager in a car, resulting in a mirror being smashed and insults hurled across the street. 7 News understands the 17-year-old driver then rammed the younger teen, the sound of the vehicle hitting a retaining wall, alerting neighbours who then came running. Today you can still see bits of his smashed tail light in the garden bed. The driver reportedly got out of his car and doubled back to see if the other teen was all right when he was then assaulted by a third party. The incident brought traffic to a halt on this usually quiet street. The 16-year-old was taken to SCOO with head, chest and abdominal injuries. He allegedly told police it was just an accident. Now, the driver has been taken into custody and is assisting investigators. Police today confirming the boys were known to each other, though so far no charges have been laid.
Thank you, Danny. Regional Queensland is set to benefit from an $18 billion capital investment as part of the state government's $107 billion big bill plan. But the opposition says the scheme is more blowout than build.
Government ministers fronted the cameras this morning to announce the foundation for what's being dubbed Queensland's Golden Decade.
It is the biggest building program to be delivered in regional Queensland ever.
The new $107 billion big build aims to upgrade the state's healthcare facilities, housing, transport and schools.
50,000 direct jobs will be delivered outside of Greater Brisbane. That will support the growth and development of regional Queensland.
We need to do this because Queensland is going to grow over the next decade by about 1 million Queenslanders.
The plan's expected to deliver more than $27 billion in capital works in the next financial year, with more than $18 billion invested into regional Queensland. The opposition takes a dimmer view of the big build.
Queensland train manufacturing program, $2.4 billion blowout, and Rockhampton Ring Road, $665 million budget blowout.
And other regional projects like the Beerburrum to Nambour rail line's $500 million cost escalation. The Treasurer remains upfront about the setbacks.
They're all significant projects, but there are good reasons for those, and we've talked about those previously.
Jamie Tenikoff, 7 News.
We're being warned to fill up our tanks now, with some petrol stations hiking the price of unleaded by more than 40 cents a litre. It's prompted calls from the RACQ for the state government to step in to regulate retail margins.
Bumper to bumper, cars lined the street for a chance to score fuel for less than $1 a litre at the Nicklin Way BP.
This is great! Getting a whole tank filled up. It's awesome.
For the second time in a month, Hot 91.1 FM dropped petrol prices, saving drivers a total of more than $12,000.
Lots of people were saying, look, hey, usually we can only fill up by $10 at a time until we make it sort of to payday.
And it couldn't come at a better time with the cost of petrol about to spike.
4 years ago, unleaded was $99 and now it's absolutely ridiculous.
3 fuel stations on the coast have hiked the price of unleaded to $2.29 per litre.
Unfortunately, in the week to come, most of the rest are likely to follow.
We're all getting hit all the time. You can't buy anything grocery-wise, your petrol's dear, your electricity's dear. We're all in the same boat together and sinking, I think.
The RACQ says retail margins are at an all-time high. It's calling for government intervention to set a limit on how much prices rise in a day.
The state doesn't have the legislative or constitutional authority to regulate prices, but we're calling on those big oil companies, please give Queenslanders a break.
Tiani Reid, 7 News.
A member of the Sunshine Coast Council's executive leadership team has resigned after 14 years of service. Craig Matheson's been a significant contributor to the region, most recently helping council in the bid for the Brisbane Olympic and Paralympic Games. His resignation comes only weeks after the CEO also chose to leave council. Sunshine Coast parents are warning others to speak up if something doesn't seem right after their toddler's shock leukemia diagnosis. A GoFundMe page has been started to help with some of their medical expenses, including travel to and from Brisbane for treatment.
At just 2 years old, Oliver Frisk has already spent more time in hospital than many people do in their entire lives.
He has T-cell acute lymphoblastic leukemia.
The Sunshine Coast toddler fell ill at the end of April and things went downhill quickly. Doctors also discovered a rare genetic mutation, giving him only a 50% chance of responding to treatment.
He is actually the 28th case in the world recorded, which was such a shock.
Oliver is currently on week 7 of chemotherapy at the Queensland Children's Hospital. It's expected to be a 2-year journey to recovery.
Our car has a major problem, so unfortunately it's not reliable enough for transport sort of to and from Brisbane for treatment.
The community has rallied behind the Glasshouse Mountains family, raising more than $4,000, and the Ronald McDonald Charity House is helping with accommodation.
Absolutely lost for words. We're so grateful for every single person.
If something doesn't seem right with your kids, and you're really not sure, get them checked out regardless.
Tiani Reid, 7 News.
4 brothers have created their own business to help fill a gap in farming security. Landwatch uses tailored solar-powered cameras to allow farmers to keep an eye on their property anywhere, anytime.
Neatly packed in a box, this security system will soon be keeping watch over a rural cattle farm.
We put together a bit of equipment that can help station owners keep a better eye on their property.
Landwatch is run by 4 brothers who've created sturdy, solar-powered security options.
We realised that farms don't have mains power a lot of the time, so that's when I started developing all the solar gear. A lot of the things that we do here are really designed for the outback. Even using like big galvanised brackets rather than any plastic, and using like cameras that are going to survive in 50-degree heat or negative 20-degree heat, because we've got it all in Australia.
The systems are in demand as crime rates continue to climb.
It's hard to protect every fence line, so we're developing some really great strategies to help the farmer keep an eye on every area that might be vulnerable. The big 3 would be machinery theft, stock theft and fuel theft.
They can also monitor stock and water levels on dams.
They can be put literally anywhere in the country and then be viewed on your phone from literally anywhere in the world.
The farm tech costs around $3,500 and can be delivered direct to your door.
We do postal systems as well. There's a lot of different variants in the postal system.
To find out more, visit the Landwatch website. Rebecca Jensen, 7 News.
We'll take a break in a moment. A $5 million upgrade to ease congestion at a Coolum roundabout. And calls for more swimmers to brave the cold and raise funds to feed hungry kids.
Sunshine Coast turns to 7 News to keep up to date on local issues, and we want you to be part of it. If there's something happening in your street, your suburb, we want to know about it. Send us a message or drop us an email.
Nice having you with us here on 7 News. Now, construction is finally about to begin on a critical upgrade to the Yandina Coolum Road roundabout. The $5 million project will feature a traffic light intersection with pedestrian access right through to the school on Barnes Lane.
For too long, the roundabout has failed here at Coolum. It expired a long time ago. It doesn't deal with the population we've got here now.
Delighted that this work promised back in 2008 is finally happening.
Night works are expected to take 4 months to complete. The MP says he'll now focus on getting a new connection to the motorway from South Coolum Road. The end of the financial year is fast approaching, and the ATO has revealed what it's cracking down on in this year's tax returns. Work-related expenses, rental properties and income statements will all be heavily scrutinised.
Some people are already crunching the numbers, eagerly waiting their yearly tax return.
We'd love to get some back. We pay plenty. If we can get some back, that'd be good.
Many Queenslanders will be claiming the essentials.
Like a little bit of clothing, work boots.
It's not much, just uniform from work.
And the ATO will be watching closely.
They're the most sophisticated they've ever been.
It's scrutinising three main types of lodgements this year.
The first is working from home deductions. The second is repairs and maintenance on investment properties. And the third one is people not including all their income in their return at tax time.
One big tip for taxpayers.
You haven't spent the money or you don't have an invoice or receipt for it, then don't claim it.
And try not to go crazy with end of financial year bargains.
You don't need them. There's no point in getting the government to pay a third because you still have to pay the rest.
All tax returns must be lodged or looked over by a tax agent by October 31. Those who don't could be slapped with a fine of more than $1,000.
We are, though, focused specifically on those that may choose to try and do the wrong thing.
Georgie May Walker, 7 News.
I was going to claim that pronunciation app, but it's not working. So there you go. A local club is cold calling swimmers to take part in a challenge to raise money for hungry kids. It's not for the faint-hearted. The solstice swim is held on the coldest, darkest day of the year.
It's a brisk challenge to help our smallest locals.
About 22% of kids go to school without any breakfast.
Alex Rotary Club has chosen Inclusive Kids Fuel for School program as the major beneficiary for this year's Solstice Swim.
This is our 8th annual swim. It'll be our biggest yet.
160 swimmers registered. We want to be able to have 300 swimmers.
And they have a big fundraising target.
We're here as a local community to raise money for the local community. All the money that we raise stays here on the Sunshine Coast, every cent of it.
Swimmers can choose a 1, 3 or 5 kilometre course from Alex Surf Club to Maroochydore, and it's open to everyone.
All the way, swimmers are monitored by the Alex Surf Lifesavers. If anybody gets tired, a cramp, whatever, they just put their hand up and they're out of the water.
You can register online for the June 23 event. Those who aren't keen to brave the chilly conditions can get involved in the raffle on the day, with $8,000 worth of prizes up for grabs.
A really good opportunity to, for the price of a cup of coffee, support local kids on the Sunshine Coast.
Danny Sharp, 7 News.
I've got some contenders for the swim. You'll see them Monday. The Australian swim trials get underway Monday.
They do indeed, Brough. Well said. Spots for Paris, they are up for grabs. And a Matthew Flinders swimmer is one of those hoping to be on the plane for what would be his first Paralympics. More on that next. And the 4 Lightning players named in the Aussie Diamond squad, including a debutante. And welcome back. Well, 4 Sunshine Coast Lightning players have been named in this year's Australian Diamond squad, and that includes a debutante, Ashley Irvin. The defender joins returning Coast teammates Courtney Bruce, Cara Conan and Diamonds captain Liz Watson. The squad announcement is the first step towards the 2027 Netball World Cup in Australia.
2027, that is the pinnacle of netball. The World Cup is our pinnacle and we want to be peaking there, and we've got new Diamonds on the way who hopefully will be there.
Now, the Lightning players then headed to Sydney ahead of their Super Netball clash with the Swifts tomorrow night, where Courtney Bruce has been named to make her long-awaited return from a calf injury. The Australian Dolphins swim team trials start on Monday in Brisbane, with spots at Paris up for grabs. A number of Coast athletes are in the mix to earn their spots on the plane, and for some it could be their Olympic or Paralympic debut.
Callum Simpson has one thing on his mind: making his Paralympics debut in Paris.
I'm feeling pretty good. Just like to see how I go in the day, I guess, and to see what I can produce. But yeah, pretty nerve-wracking at the moment.
The Matthew Flinders swimmer will contest 3 events at next week's trials: the 100 and 400 freestyle and the 100 fly.
He's done some really good in-season racing. Nationals a couple of weeks ago, and he actually went over to Europe as well and dropped some pretty good times.
Callum's been preparing for this moment under Olympic glamour couple Melanie and Chris Wright, who now run the Flinders pool.
I love training here. Chris has a good program going, and it's like one of the best programs on the coast, I reckon.
The UniSC Spartans are sending 10 from their Olympic program to trials, including Alex Perkins, who faces a big challenge to finish top 2 in the 100 butterfly against Emma McKeon and Brianna Throssell.
PB, 100% PB. And form and everything says that, she's more than capable of doing that.
Tom Novakovsky will take on Cam McAvoy and Isaac Cooper in the 50 free.
It'll be close. Obviously, Cam sort of sits out the front there a little bit at the moment, and you've got another 2 or 3 guys sort of just sub-22s.
While Zach Inserti is eyeing off a relay spot after last year's return from a shoulder injury.
I mean, being the #1 nation in swimming right now is always going to be tough, and it's really good to see it.
Luke McGarry, 7 News.
And good luck to all our swimmers next week in Brisbane. Now, the Sunshine Coast Wanderers, they're one of the form teams right now in soccer's National Premier League, and they're daring to dream of finals. The team is 6th on the ladder, just 1 win outside the top 4. It's quite the turnaround for a side who lost 6 of their opening 7 games.
We've got internal targets. We know what we need to do. We know how many wins we need. We're capable of doing that.
The Wanderers' recent game was a midweek 2-1 win over Brisbane City at Ballinger Park, and tomorrow they're off to Albany Creek to face the 3rd-placed Moreton City Excelsior.
I don't think, in particular, anybody really wants to come and play the Wanderers, whether it be at home or away at the moment. I think we've been second on the form ladder.
And kick-off is 4:45pm. And we're racing Sunday up here at Corbel Park here now with all of his best bets. It's Chris Nelson.
Thanks, Nathan. Racing at Corbel Park on Sunday. 8 races to get through. 12:14's the kick-off time. Let's find some winners. Race 3, number 7, Action King, now was taken on in front first up at Ipswich. Was a bit of a sitting shot in the straight. I thought the run overall was a good one, and he strips fitter this time around. I think it'd be hard to beat. Race 4, number 1, Fitzpatrick. Good on debut at Bendigo. Charged to victory here on the Poly track last start, winning by over 6 lengths. No reason he can't bring that form to the grass on Sunday. And we'll round it out with race 6, number 7, Liberty Steps. Ryan Maloney will ride, locally trained from the Nat McCall stable. Looks very close to a win, and will find this an easier task than his last start placing at Ipswich. That's my lot for this week. Whatever you're doing, I hope you have a great weekend. We'll catch you again, same time, same place, next Friday. Back to you, Nathan.
Good on you, Chris. Thanks for that. I think if you're a Queenslander Brough, you're going to have a fantastic weekend. What a last 2 nights it was in the footy.
It's been a good week, mate.
Yes, indeed.
Lovely.
Thank you.
It's just begun. We've got the weather for you in a moment. Blue skies everywhere. Liv will have it after the break, and the surf report with Robbie. We'll see you in a moment.
G'day, Livio, Regano with tonight's weather. Cruisy times at the Weather Bureau as dry season finally kicks in for 2024. An endless succession of clear wintry nights and blissfully sunny days with no rain for the next whole week. Temperatures today across our neck of the woods at Sunshine Coast Airport, the daily range was 6 to 21 degrees. Nice and crisp at night. Nambour and Gympie hit a high of 20. Twanton rose to a top of 21 today. Now on the satellite loop, you can see all the fuss about cloud has sort of disappeared into nothing. What's left is just on the granite belt. They're the only unlucky place, or lucky as the case may be, in the whole state that have still been getting showers. They have an interesting climate. When they have upslope winds coming from the southwest, everyone goes dry and they end up getting low cloud. As far as we're concerned, it's been clear as a bell and it will continue that way. So today's chart, the low, which is sitting just off the coast of Sydney, is starting to dig its way into the ocean just there, connected to a cold front. And you can see in behind it, remember clockwise around the low, we're getting these winds coming from the southwest. They're a drier land wind and much colder because they've been drawn up from southern latitudes. Tomorrow's chart, the low digs in a bit further and you can see the high move across right into its typical midwinter position right over central Australia. Like a giant wheel going anti-clockwise, drawing in those cool, dry winds from the south, bringing them overland so they're bone dry, absolutely no chance of a cloud. Then on the outlook chart, it's just more of the same. Clear nights, sunny days, but very crisp in the mornings. So now the latest from the Weather Bureau, boating forecast for Sunshine Coast waters. Winds blowing straight off the land, generally between 10 and 20 knots for the next 3 days. Starting as a west-southwesterly tomorrow and ending as a south-southwesterly by Monday, with seas under a metre. High tide starting to get later in the day. Still pretty big given we've just had new moon, but remember in winter the biggest high tide's always at night, so careful where you park. For the southeast coast, a mostly sunny and rather cool day. Maroochydore 8 to 22 degrees. Nambour and Gympie also heading for 22. And looking ahead, barely a cloud in the sky for the next 7 days and not so much as a drop of rain. Temperatures gradually rising to reach the mid-20s by Wednesday ahead of another cool change on Thursday. Well, here's a Friday feel-good photo from Homebush. I'm pleased I instantly saw the same thing as the photographer, a set of eyebrows looking kind of startled, almost giving a wink of acknowledgement that the sun's either coming up or going down. Thanks, Donna Ricciardi, for sending in that one. Have a fab weekend, one and all. Catch you Monday. And now it's over to Robbie Sherwell with the Surf Report.
Thanks, Livio. All the surf's going to be pretty small across the coast beaches over the weekend. Only around half a metre at the most tomorrow, a touch bigger on Sunday from the east-southeasterly direction. Now, we are expecting south-southwesters to be blowing, getting up to around that 12-knot mark during the day. The tide is high just after 9 tomorrow and on Sunday just before 10 a.m. If you're out there and you're looking for a wave, the biggest wave is going to be the southern corner of Alexandra Bay. Other than that, it's going to be worth checking between Peregian and Sunshine. You're going to have to pull out a super high volume board or a mal. Now for swimmers, the water's still just under 23 degrees. All beaches will be open. Just remember the ocean is always a dangerous place. Only swim between the red and yellow flags. Have a wonderful weekend across the coast beaches. Now it's back to you, Rob.
Good on you, Robbie. Thank you, mate. Stunning at the moment, isn't it? Enjoy your weekend. We'll see you on Monday. Take care. Good night.